Our Chameleon Stalkers and a good patch 6.3. So right off the bat, let's remember Oxyotl can do crazier things with this unit, but this is beyond the scope of the video for the base unit. I've done the video for the new Blessed variant, but the old one has a different role, and it's good to understand that role fully. Let's break stealth for a critical hit. Recruit for 600 gold and 150 upkeep. Midway between a skink cohort with javelins and Saurus warriors with shields, on Ultra they come at 90 entities with 5,940 health. Armor is 40, but they come with physical resistance 20% and missile resistance 20%. Therefore, they will take outsized damage from magical missiles, and magical attack melee will hurt fully anyway, but they'll be every bit as resistant to non-magical arrows as Chameleon skinks. Leadership 65 is simply decent. Speed 48 and charge speed 52 are as good as the missile units. Melee attack begins at 26, and each attack is poison even in multiplayer. Attack interval 4.3 is slower than the norm, but only slightly. No splash damage. Melee defense starts at 36, so already 10 stronger than the attack value. Weapon strength 25 is split base 20 and armor piercing 5, so in terms of damage it's no different than the missile units, or skink cohorts. Charge bonus of 25 is interesting, basically doubling both the melee attack and the weapon strength. Favoring the same base damage, and mass of 70 means that they don't particularly like getting run over. For ranged, the precursor weapon auto-aims unless they are charging at a target in melee, then they'll prioritize that target. By default, it's only 2 ammo. You can squeeze this up to 3 under the right circumstances. Range 50 meters, missile strength 67, and flaming attack. Each direct hit is base 9 and armor piercing 3, but detonation radius a modest 2, base 21, and armor piercing 7 explosion damage. Of course, affecting any target directly hit. Reload time is 6, total accuracy 30, calibration distance 50 equal to the max range, calibration area 3, so not pinpoint exactly, but can be really interesting targeting some characters. I used to be able to do really precise anti-character attacks, but I believe they reined that in on purpose because, other people were doing it too. There's a small penetration cap, max targets penetrated after the first 2 before the kaboom. Like Chameleon skinks, they have spawn kin for purposes of Kroq-Gar synergy. Stalk, Vanguard deployment, Fire whilst moving, 360-degree fire, and Strider. They also have Primal Instinct under 50% health. In the Redline skills, 3 pips of Skirmisher offers melee defense plus 6, weapon strength plus 12%, which in this case actually is their focus, missile strength plus 8%, which is a nice bonus, Spawn Kin gives rank 7 Chameleons leadership plus 5, melee defense plus 5 again, and missile resistance 15%, which is very useful. In the tech tree, a lot's going on. Tablet of the Skinks instantly slaps on plus 20% ammunition, poison for melee attacks is superfluous here, and recruitment cost minus 10%. Skink spawning gives plus 2 recruit rank, Sequence of Quickness gives speed plus 10% and melee defense plus 3 again. Sequence of Skirmishing gives missile strength plus 10% and range plus 10%. Sequence of Purpose gives enhanced spawn kin for that plus 5 melee defense with Kroq-Gars and plus 10% weapon strength besides. And Skink Invigoration for minus 20% fatigue buildup and minus 10% upkeep. In addition to this, Rite of Sotek, while active, would give them melee attack plus 10, weapon strength plus 15%, and ammunition plus 20%. So in such a state of agitation, Chameleon Stalkers become an even bigger menace in melee. So how do we use Chameleon skinks? Yes, this is the point. This is why the video exists. What you see is that the red line and text provide basically no assistance to that melee attack number, though Rite of Sotek sure does, and Special Lures sure will. But the rest is devoted to things like speed, missile strength, ammunition, melee defense, and lots of it. So Chameleon Stalkers have 3 big uses. The first is as a more extreme backstabbing assassin against artillery units. It can't fire for long, but it sure can hit in melee. The second is as a more extreme melee mugger against missile infantry, which they have a broad ability to kill, unless it's dwarfs, then good luck. The third is the broader thing. For all it being lower entities, lower health than skink cohorts, this becomes a tar pit unit in battle, lasting far longer than it has any business doing due to sky-high melee defense. It's not killing things quickly or at all depending on what's going on, but it takes a long while to chew through them, and they keep things busy for a long time. This could be missile units, but often they're annoying melee units as well, even cavalry sometimes. They will fight to pretty low numbers of entities with their leadership the way it is, and just how often that they're not losing a battle by that much. In other words, in a drawn-out battle, Chameleon Stalkers are either fleeing to go back into stealth for another raid, or they're hanging on barely as a pure anvil, using poison and their inherent and boosted defense to hold something still so someone can clobber it, be it spell or be it horned ones or a stompy dino. Or maybe it's hanging on just long enough for skirmishers to dart behind it and then dart it from behind. This is exactly how you likely will end up using the unit. How successful all this will be depends a lot on your enemy. No one expects them to win against Chaos Warriors. Of course, nowadays we have the blessed Chameleon Stalkers to sneak up from behind, so... And I'll also mention that with the new skink chiefs offering charge defense versus large if they're high enough level, that's going to be nice. So keep that in mind for keeping them from being run over, because that's one of their biggest weaknesses. Take care, and have fun grinding the enemy to a halt so that giant lasers from space can finish them off. And I've done that.